Well, let's go live now to our Queensland Editor Peter Gleeson. 4 new cases, 2 are in hotel quarantine. The risk to the community, Gleeson, seems to be coming from one person, and that is a truck driver.
And it's interesting that Transport Minister Mark Bailey just announced that it would be mandatory for truck drivers from October 14 to have at least one vaccination. They're going to set up roadside vaccination spots for truckies. So they're obviously very concerned at the prospect of truck drivers spreading this virus. Now, look, I just had a text from a very senior Labor source saying the only person more powerful in Queensland than Jeanette Young is Peter Palaszczuk, who, of course, is the boss of the NRL. I mean, look, on previous form, hard, fast, snap lockdowns when there is a real risk to the community, as is this truck driver who was in shared accommodation, you'd have to say you would be betting odds on that they would have gone into a lockdown. But, of course, the big thing in Queensland at the moment is you've got 52,000 people with tickets for a big grand final at Suncorp Stadium on Sunday. Has that played a role in the decision? Well, of course, the Chief Health Officer will say no, the Premier will say no, and they will say that they think they can have it, and Yvette Dath, the Health Minister, will say no, they will say that they've got it under control. But, of course, with these events and with the possibility of a super spreading event, there will be some concern in the community, particularly if Sunday goes ahead as planned.
Yeah, sure, but we just heard from Anastasia Palaszczuk there, and as Jim Callanan was saying, there is a contingency, and Townsville will certainly be getting ready for any kind of last-minute move. But our audience couldn't quite hear the questions there to Anastasia Palaszczuk, but she was asked about the NRL, Peter Gleeson, and she did say, no, none of those conversations are happening at the moment, all good. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that there certainly would be talks going on. We know that the NRL have a contingency plan for Townsville. We know that the NRL have their bubble here. We know that the NRL get special treatment, and that's okay. I mean, you know, Queensland has saved the 2021 NRL competition, and of course we saw all the semi-finals in Mackay and Rocky, Townsville, and now of course Brisbane. Look, it is a hot button issue in Queensland. I'm sure there'll be a lot of debate about this. The cynics will say, just as my Labor sources just said, that the NRL have got plenty of sway when it comes to this. But they will be relying on the health advice. If Dr Jeanette Young comes out in 24 hours or 48 hours and says, no, all bets are off, this is, you know, really concerning, you will see a snap lockdown. But right now, they've dodged a bullet, and the NRL Grand Final will go ahead.
Well, just on that, Gleeson, would Peter Palaszczuk's countenance playing the Grand Final with no crowds in Brisbane, or is that a complete no-no?
Look, I think that would probably be option D. I think, obviously, option A is going ahead on Sunday. Option B would be going to Townsville. Option C would be going ahead on Sunday with no crowds. And of course, that and delaying it a week is another option. But we just heard Jim Callanan, who's got good sources, saying that that will not happen. So, look, yes, anything's possible at the moment. But of course, we've got to look at the next 24 to 48 hours. If you've got a truck driver out in the community who has been in a shared accommodation situation for a week, unknowingly with the virus, the potential for that to spread and escalate is real, and so we'll have to watch very closely. I wouldn't rule it out, but right now you'd be thinking, yes, if you've got grand final tickets on Sunday, you'll be going.
Okay, that's a good note to end on.